You're listening to SM Media, the home of exclusive West of Scotland Football League content. Hi, folks, and welcome to this week's episode of the SM Media West of Scotland Football Show. I'm Scott McPike. It's an absolute pleasure to be your host on the show, as always. You can see this week that I am riding solo. This is the first kind of review show we're going to do in the new series. So this week I'm just going to do it myself. Hopefully, you all enjoy it. Hopefully, I don't talk too much and annoy everybody. But we're going to go through all the action over the weekend in the West of Scotland Football League. There's obviously 5 leagues to get through. What we'll have as well as obviously I was at Glenafton versus Arthurlie on Saturday. So we will have interviews from Glenafton's assistant manager Mark Roberts and the Arthurlie manager Cammy Palmer as Glenafton through a 1-0 victory over Arthurlie in their first home game of the season. Just before we get into the action on the leagues this week, I want to just take a wee personal note. I know obviously we're talking about the action, but just that's the first kind of show I've done this kind of thing, and I just want to take the time. People will know through following the social media and obviously knowing myself and kind of members of the community that it's not been an easy few months for myself and my family. Obviously, people will know what's happened, and I just want to take this time to personally thank everybody, all the clubs in the West of Scotland who have sent so many fantastic messages and thoughts and prayers and things like that. It's been so nice to. It's been so humbling as well because like that obviously the big thing we're running the channel is kind of building relationship with clubs and managers and players, and to have so many people sending me and my family as well like some thoughts and things like that. It's just it goes to show that just how nice people have been, and also that we're kind of doing what we aim to do and build the league, build coverage towards the league, and obviously build relationships with people involved and fans as well. So many people have just been so kind over the past few months, and I just wanted to take this time to thank everybody for that. Kind of the reason that I'm kind of back doing what I'm doing is just everybody just saying how much they've missed the content and things like that, and obviously just to have that is so humbling just to know that people care, and that I really greatly appreciate that. But we'll talk about the action that took place over the weekend in the West of Scotland. So we'll start in the Premier Division. We will go through the scores just one at a time. Auchinleck Talbot 0, Darvel 3, Beith Juniors 0, Hurlford United 2, Clydebank 2, Irvine Meadow 3, Cumnock Juniors 2, Cambuslang Rangers 0, Glenafton 1, Arthurlie 0, Cowan Rangers 2, Troon 3, Kirkintilloch Rob Roy 2, Petershill 0, Pollock 0, Lags Thistle 0. So we'll go through the games individually. We'll start, obviously, the big game of the weekend was undoubtedly Auchinleck Talbot 0, Darvel 3. A big result for Darvel, obviously, coming back off after a disappointing start, losing at home to Cumnock, going to Auchinleck. We know this is obviously one of the big guy catching games over the season when they both meet against each other. Darvel, obviously, champions for last season. Going to Auchinleck and winning 3-0 is never, ever easy, but it's a massive performance for Darvel. Obviously, I think it's safe to say that the red card to Gareth Armstrong was a big factor in the game. Darvel, I think, were 1-0 up, and Auchinleck missed a penalty. Obviously, Gareth gets sent off, but Darvel showing the clinical edge that they had last season and killing the game off. Really, 2 fantastic goals later on by Alan McKenzie and Andy Stirling, following on for Daryl Meggett's opening goal. As we say, these are the games. If Darvel want to defend their title, these are the games they're going to have to win, and going there's a massive statement that they can go to a place like Auchinleck, because we know just a difficult place to go, and we know how well Auchinleck do it grinding out results, and it's a big statement from Darvel, and we'll see obviously how Darvel bounce back. We've seen obviously a big result against Auchinleck from their Cumnock defeat, but a game on Friday night again as well against Kilbirnie will show how well they're going to handle it. I think Darvel have been really good, really smart in recruitment over the summer, bringing in the likes of Ross Meakin from Forfar. Everybody knows just how good he is. Obviously, one of the standout players in the League Two last season, so he's going to handle the step really. He's going to handle the kind of step down really well. He will be a real kind of solid foundation in the defence, along with the likes of Chris Truesdale and Craig McGowan. I think I've mixed their names up. I apologise for that, but as we say, it's for Darvel. It was about keeping their core and going for promotion again. And I think they're in a good position to do that. And we'll see, obviously, how Darvel handle it. Auchinleck, on the other hand, obviously, it's going to be tough to regain the title. They maybe haven't been as busy in the recruitment areas I thought maybe they would be. Like, they've signed up, obviously, Chris Stafford on a permanent deal. The boy Ross Taylor, I've been hearing a lot of things from a lot of Auchinleck fans saying that he could be one to watch. I know he was really impressive against Troon. It's going to be, obviously, Auchinleck, we know their pedigree, what to do. Tucker sets them up really well. They can scrap ones out probably better than anybody in this division. So I think they'll be challenging. I have no doubt they'll be challenging at the top of the table. It's just, are they able to challenge Darvel in the league throughout the campaign? I think Darvel put in a massive run last season. If Darvel are winning 3-0, does it suggest maybe that the gap's wider than we thought? I don't know. That's obviously over the course of the season, we'll find that out. And obviously, Auchinleck will need to go to Darvel. Darvel will obviously fancy themselves to improve after their start, but it will be a big season for both teams, and I think the result, obviously, would the result have been the same with a red card? We don't know. Speaking to people at the game, I think Darvel's clinical edge showed, and Auchinleck were maybe just about getting out on their feet towards the end. It's going to be one of the days. You don't know. It's if buts and maybes with red cards, and we know the situation, but a massive win for Darvel. We'll go next to Beath 0, Hurlford 2. Hurlford have had a good start. Obviously, their first win following a 0-0 draw with Rob Roy. Beath had a good start against Cambuslang last week. Hurlford, I think, that's a really good result for them. Going to Beath and winning 2-0 again, never easy. Hurlford, I think we have to give massive props to the likes of Darren Henderson at Hurlford for what he's done over the past kind of 12 months. I mean, we were sitting here this time last year saying that Hurlford might struggle to stay up. They obviously did a remarkable season, finishing 6th. Lost a big striker in Lewis Morrison, obviously went to Darvel. Tough to replace their goals, but they have recruited well, some smart players, a couple of signings for Kilmarnock, like Ross Fisher coming in. They show that they can really go. I think they'll easily finish top half this season. I've no doubt. The thing with Hurlford, they'll obviously want to do better than 6, but will they be able to, with a lot of kind of other clubs improving, will they be able to kind of stay in front of them? That's obviously over the course of the season. We'll find more of that, but massive credit to Hurlford for a big result. Going to Beath a great result. Beath, I have no problems with them either. I think they're going to do quite well. As also they've kept their kind of big forward players like Josh Fowler, Kenny McLean, Paul Fries. Some good signings in there as well. Like the Straney, we know what Straney can do. Straney's obviously came for Kilwinning. He's got the background in the league. They will be fine. I think Beath, obviously last week as well. Kenny McLean, we have to give a mention to him. He's still doing it. He's shows that class is permanent, and he's got the class to be a really good striker at this level, and scoring 2 goals last week. And I think he will be a key player for Beath this season. Next result, Clydebank 2, Irvine Meadow 3. Bit of a surprise, actually. I didn't see this one coming. I thought Clydebank would maybe edge this one out. Like Irvine Meadow, Callum Graham with a magnificent hat-trick. He's up for Player of the Week as well. So if you're an Irvine Meadow fan and you're watching this, and you might still have time to vote for him, another big result for Irvine Meadow. I know they wanted to bounce back after losing the first game of the season to Kilwinning. That's the way to do it. Go to Clydebank. That's what you're going to need to do if you want to kind of move up the league. And I do think the likes of Irvine Meadow, and obviously we'll touch on Cumnock next, I think they will be better than last season. They've recruited well. I was really impressed with Irvine Meadow's recruitment over the summer. We were in Clydebank. Really good result last week against Arthurlie. Like a massive props to Gordon Moffat in last season as well. A really good Scottish Cup run. Finishing 4th, I think I underestimated just how good an accomplishment that was for Clydebank. They'll be aiming for more of the same this season, possibly improving to try and get into that top 3. I would imagine, I'm looking forward to seeing them on Saturday. I'll touch on where I'm going on Saturday, but I think Clydebank will be fine. It was just a crazy game by the sounds of it. I think the fans get their money's worth. 2 goals for Clydebank, 3 for Irvine Meadow, and Callum Graham scoring a hat-trick. There's not much else to say. A really impressive result for Irvine Meadow, and they'll be looking to improve as the season goes on, as will Clydebank. We have Cumnock Junior sitting at the top of the table. Jordan Moore with 2 goals for Cumnock. Got them a 2-0 home win over Cambuslang Rangers to capitalise on obviously their big win against Darvel last week. I think Cumnock are going to be the team to watch this season. I think they will definitely be the team that will improve. I can see Cumnock trying to break into the kind of top 4, top 5 of the league. Like, they managed to stay up last season. Obviously, Brian McGinty came in kind of quite late into the season. Their recruitment has been superb, I think. The likes of Mark McLennan coming in, the likes of Jared Willett, Jamie Bartley as well. Some terrific additions to that team. Losing a few players, I thought maybe Cumnock will struggle. They've replaced them well. I think Mark McLennan is possibly, I've spoken about this a few times in the show, I think Mark McLennan's a magnificent signing. So Cumnock are obviously at the top of the table. I think they're the only team with 6 points, I believe, which shows you that this league is going to be extremely competitive. But the best way to start is with victories, and 2 wins so far. Cumnock are in a good run of form. Will they keep it up? That's again we'll wait and see. But I think with Brian, they've got a really good manager, someone who knows the league. I can see Cumnock being a good team this season. I think Cambuslang, we know it was going to be difficult to replace the goals of like Scott Williamson and John Gemmell. Will they be able to handle the big league? That's obviously we'll find out over the course of the season, but they'll be looking to get a win as quickly as possible. It's obviously a big step up coming from the conferences into the Premier Division. They've not had the easiest starts, obviously being Cumnock, but they'll be hoping to put a wee run together, and obviously they'll be looking to get some goals in the next few games ahead of a kind of busy period. As you say, it's obviously you want to get off to a fast start. You don't want to get in a ruck at the start of the season, because you see yourself at the bottom, and it's just that gap can get quite wide. So again, Cambuslang, I don't know how they'll get on, but it'll be interesting to see. I think they'll, likes of David Cox coming in as well. It's going to be interesting to see how they get on. Kilwinning Rangers 2, Troon 3. All reports was this was a magnificent game. Dale Moore, get the winner for Troon right at the end. I think Kilwinning were 2-0 up. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but Kilwinning as well, I was on record as saying I thought Kilwinning would have a really good season, bringing David Gormley in. Some of their signings have been terrific. Chris Miller in the middle of the park is going to be a terrific addition, obviously, not just on the park, but to help younger players through. Everybody knows how much I admire likes of Thomas Collins and Gavin Miller, keeping them's big. Dylan Mackin for Stirling, I'm a huge fan of. So Kilwinning, they had a good start in the opening day against Darvel Meadow, but a disappointing result, losing obviously at home to Troon. But you have to give full props to Troon. What a magnificent result that is, especially obviously coming back to win. All reports well, it was a massive display from Troon, to massive courageous fight back as well, which you need at this level, and you need in this league, where it's going to be every week's going to be a slugfest. It really is. I think we're going to see some goals throughout the season, but I think we're also going to see really tight results. You're going to see a lot of teams coming from behind. This is a big result for Troon, obviously, going from, I think Troon's priority will be to stay in the league, but obviously they want to compete in the kind of middle of the table as well. It'll be interesting to see how they got on, but they've got a good management team. Jimmy Kirkwood, Dean Keenan, obviously we know how good they are. I am really impressed with this result as well, and I think Troon will be worth keeping an eye on. I did have my doubts, like would they be able to kind of take that next step this season, but a result like that's a good start. And by all reports, the week before they held Auchinleck really well, who obviously Auchinleck won the game, just I think by the skin of their teeth. But I'm a big fan of the project at Troon. I know there's a lot of ambition at the club to move forward. They're obviously getting their floodlights in. They're going to redo the park, I think, as well. Like, Troon are a big side in this division, and they'll be wanting to stay in it. And wins like this will be big for them. Kirkintilloch, Rob Roy 2, Petershill 0. Again, Rob Roy, good start as well. They had a tremendous season last year, considering the start they had. Like, to stay in the league for Rob Roy, I don't think many people would have put their money on that this time last year. A big start as well, John. Going to Hurlford and drawing 0-0 and then beating Petershill 2-0. Max has done a great job there. Stuart Maxwell deserves a bunch of credit for how well he's done at the club. And they're another team, obviously, they are looking to move into a new home. They're looking to obviously retain their status in the league and build on the season ahead. And it's going to be a big season for Rob Roy, and wins like this are always good. Petershill, obviously new to the league. I do have my doubts about Petershill, I'm not going to lie. I think losing Martin Loughlin was a big loss. Losing likes of Ronan Sweeney, Stephen Docherty, likes of Anthony Eadie away as well. Wally Kirby's come in. We spoke to him obviously in the season preview. It's going to be a big job. It's going to be a big step up. It's not been the best start, obviously. Losing your first 2 games, by all reports, as though that against Pollok they played really well. They just obviously didn't get the chances. But Petershill, it'll be interesting to see if they can take the step up. They'll be wanting to get a win on the board as soon as possible. I think they go to Cumnock in 2 weeks' time. I think I'll be at that game, so I'll get my chance to look and see how Petershill have handled the kind of step up to the league. But it'll be interesting to see how they get on. But Rob Roy, obviously a big result for them. They're sitting on 4 points so far. Pollok nil, Largs Thistle nil. Largs Thistle are one of the few unbeaten teams in the league so far. They've picked up 1-1 draw against Glenafton in the Matchday 1, and then obviously holding Pollok to a 0-0 draw. By all reports, from what we heard throughout our kind of coverage, that Largs done really well again to hold Pollok to a 0-0 draw. Pollok, I think, had plenty of shots, just couldn't capitalise. But Pollok as well, good start for them the week before, obviously going to Petershill and winning 3-1. Dylan Dykes with a double, Stephen Docherty getting on the score sheet as well. I think Pollok will improve. I do. I think this result's big for Largs. I think Largs will be obviously looking to keep the goals despite losing Will Sewell. They'll be looking to replace their goals drastically. 1 goal in 2 games. We'll see. Hopefully they can keep it going. Hopefully they can improve their goal statistics and find the net a lot more often this season. But losing a big striker, we see obviously how it's going. Will Sewell obviously getting a move to Stenhousemuir. He's done really well. Pollok losing a big player in Matty Grant to Stranraer, and I think this move shows that just how much interest this league's gathering. Like you see, like Will Sewell going to Stenhousemuir, Matty Grant going to Stranraer. Even the league below, Shotts lost Danny Burns to, I think he went to Stirling Albion. Like the West, like people are taking notice of the West, and they so should be, because there's a lot of terrific players in there. And it's good to see players like Matty Grant getting a move, because I think Matty Grant had a terrific season last year. He will handle the step up to SPFL really well. I'm thinking he will do really well at Stranraer. He's under a coach like Jamie Hamill, who will know his pedigree and things like that. So that'll be a good move for him. But Pollok as well, they'll be looking to obviously get their SFA licence. They will be looking to make some ground this year. They weren't too far behind the likes of Auchinleck and Darvel in 3rd place, but they'll be looking to close that gap this season. So keep an eye on Pollok. The final game in the West of Scotland Premier Division was a game I covered live. Glenafton 1, Arthurlie 0. It was not the best spectacle, I'm not going to lie. It was kind of just a weird game. There wasn't a lot happening. Glenafton took an early league through Shug Kerr. It was his first goal for Glenafton in the league since arriving in January. I do think once he gets a wee run, he will score a few goals for Glenafton. I think he's a big game striker. Obviously coming for WOSFL last season, he's took time to settle in at the Glens, but under like some Mark Roberts, Ryan Stevenson's there, he'll get the goals, and they're building chances as well. I thought it was a weird game. I thought Arthurlie would show better than they did. I think they kind of tried to match Glenafton, like with playing the long ball, and by everything I've heard about Arthurlie over the past couple of seasons, as they like to play the ball on the ground. But they'll be looking to get off the mark in the next couple of weeks. They've got I think they go to Irvine Meadow next week. That'll be a good test for them to see if they can get something out of that. Irvine Meadow will be riding a crest after a big result against Clydebank. But I was disappointed a wee bit with Arthurlie. I thought they would be a bit better, but again, it's still early days, and obviously the situation with losing Andy to work commitments and Craig Palmer coming in as manager, just it will take time. Obviously, I spoke to Craig about it, just how we got on, how he's settling in, how the squad's settling in. Like, it was a weird game. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't the best spectacle, but it was decided early. Glenafton probably should have had more goals. I think they'll be disappointed they didn't add to the 1-0. I think, but Arthurlie as well, you could say a couple of chances in the second half. They hit the bar with a free kick. They should have had a penalty. They should have. I think the referee missed a pass back as well. There was a lot going on in that game. Like I think the officials will wish they could have had their way again with that game. It was just a weird game and all sorts. But great to be back at a game, and I will pass the floor over to Mark Roberts and Craig Palmer, who were getting interviewed about the game. I spoke to them just after on both sides. So joined by Glenafton assistant manager Mark Roberts. Mark, wasn't the best spectacle, but 3 points all that matters, isn't it?
That's it. After last week we were disappointed only getting a point away to Largs, so to get the win today was vital. We didn't play great. I thought there was wee bits of the game that were very good, but there was a lot that we really need to improve on. And though you look at the scoreline, it was only 1-0. We probably should have won the game by about 3 or 4 with a couple of the chances we had there. So, but as I say, 3 points, and it sets us up for a great game next week at Whitletts.
And how big was that to get the early goal and just kind of calm everything a wee bit?
It probably calmed it a wee bit, but I still feel as though once you get that early goal, you go and we should go and basically put them to the sword and go and win 3 or 4-0. It didn't happen. Fair play to them. They sat and made it difficult for us, and a couple of wee chances themselves. But overall, in the game, I felt we were quite comfortable. But as I say, the 1-0 scoreline probably felt the
Obviously, Shock Kerr scoring his first goal. I think it's his first goal in the league since he came in. How big is that for him?
They can play well for 5 games and not get a goal, and then it still plays in their mind. So to get that goal, especially the first home league game of the season, is good. Thing is, Shuggy's missing next week, which is disappointing. But as I say, to get the first goal and get us up on our first 3 points of the season, we're delighted for him.
How good's it been obviously during the summer, like Paul Payton coming in? How big's his experience been?
Aye, he'll be a massive player for us. Him and Jambo in there in the middle of the park, you'll not get a better midfielder in the whole league up for me. You've got Pettigrew in there as well, so there's a lot of experience. Holly Rowe too. Shuggy's obviously an experienced boy, and we've got a lot of younger guys running about them that'll get great legs that can get them on the pitch. We've got a good balance. We just need to get everybody back for suspension, everybody fit, and then we're okay.
Brilliant, Marco, thank you very much.
No bother, pal.
So we're joined by the Arthurlie manager, Craig Palmer. Craig, what was your thoughts on the performance, a 1-0 defeat today?
I thought at times it was a scrappy game for us and all. We didn't do a lot of things right. We knew when Glenafton played to their strengths, they play a lot of balls into channels, chase them down, back it up, settings are very well organised. We spoke about that. Just felt when we got the ball, we didn't do we didn't get the ball. We tried to get through into what they do, and it just wasn't. I felt we kind of contributed to the defeat there, if I'm being honest.
And how much that kind of point was the early goal, and how kind of hard was it to kind of regain your shape after that?
That kills you, absolutely kills you. To come for us to have the ball left back, to then put a ball in the middle, and within two touches it's 1-0 when you've got the ball. It can't happen. At this level it can't happen. And the boys, listen, there's no excuses for it. It puts you right in the back foot, and it can't happen. That's the end of the day, it can't happen.
We're only obviously in 2 games into the season, but like 2 defeats, how kind of important is it to hit the ground running the next couple of games?
Oh, massive. Listen, I said to the boys today that I felt this was even though it was the second game, I felt it was a massive game for us, because played in this league long enough as well, and I've been involved in it. But your start determines where you're kicking about in the boat or where you're kicking about up the tap. And I mean, that's too. Listen, I can sit here and sow grapes and say I don't think we deserve to lose that today. I thought last week was kind of a harsh one on the boys as well. No that our teams didn't deserve them. But listen, that's the joys of this league. It's all good teams, and it's all teams that will put you at the sword if you're not in your game. So listen, I felt we were better last week. Well, this week I don't think we were very good this week, if I'm being honest. But still felt we could have maybe nicked a draw. But listen, congratulations to Glenafton. They've got the win. They're organised and they've done well. So congratulations to them.
Right, they're unlucky. No, I mean, we got a penalty there.
Listen, I can't say much about the referees. I'm kind of suspended today due to not even saying anything to them. I was swearing, so we'll not get into that. But I can't say much. I felt that, and I felt not that it changed the play. Listen, it was 1-0 left. I even felt that when Laden gets booked with that boy. The boy, I can see for the far side, the boy clearly kicks him in the face, and he gets a booking. And then you're talking at the penalty as well. I think it's an elbow. I felt it happened in the first half as well with a striker when Big Lewis was defending as well. Listen, these things happen in the game. The referees, listen, it's not going to change your performance. The referees made his decision on that. I do think the boot to the face is a red card, the fact that but I'm not a referee, so on the performance it doesn't change it.
Craig, thank you very much. A pleasure.
No worries, thank you.
Huge thanks to Marco and Craig for doing that for the channel. We'll be doing that more often. Every game we're at, we're hoping to speak to managers and players, so we'll have that as part of this show, so keep an eye on that. Move on to the first division, just a wee rundown of the results. Blantyre 1, Whitletts 2, Drumchapel 2, Rutherglen 0, Gartcairn 1, Thorneywood 0, Johnstone 1, Kilbirnie 4, Neilston 2, Benburn 0, Rossvale 1, Shotts 5, St Cadoc's 2, Cumbernauld 2, St Roch's 7, Bonneton 1. I think we start with the big game over the weekend, which was Kilbirnie going to Johnstone winning 4-1. That's a massive result for them. I think that these are 2 teams who could be seriously in promotion, but you could say that probably with all 16 teams, to be honest, because this league is the most competitive league in the whole 5 divisions. It's so hard to call this. I think every week, if you can pick 5 teams out of this every week, you'll be I think you'll be lucky if you get it once, because it's so hard. There's so many teams in there who can beat each other. There's at the top and the bottom. I think there's about 9 or 10 teams that you could say could be chancing themselves for promotion. Like, it's so hard. But Kilbirnie going to Johnston's a massive statement and winning 4-1. Johnston very well drilled under Jamie McKim, but Kilbirnie going there and scoring 4 goals and very clinical. John Scullion scoring a double. They've recruited well under Tommy Malloy. Tommy's obviously there now himself. Obviously, Sean had left. I think Kilbirnie are my probably pick to win the league this season. I think they'll be really strong. It won't be a case of a team will run away with this league. I'd be very surprised if that happens, because there's a load of teams that will challenge at the top in that league. But sitting top of the league just now are Whitletts Victoria. They had a really good start, winning against St Rochs last week and then going to Blantyre and picking up a huge 2-1 win. Like Sir Gordon and Ian, they're doing a really good. They couldn't have got off to a better start, and they'll be hoping to pick up on that. A really impressive result going to Blantyre, which is, as we see, it's never easy to go to. We'll say that about a lot of teams, but you go to Blantyre and win 2-1, you'll take that every day of the week. So Whitletts are off to a really fast start. They'll be very happy with that. Next game, obviously, Shotts going to Rossvale and winning 5-1. That's all you'll take that every day. Shotts, I think they'll do well this season. I know losing Danny Burns, I thought that would be tough, but they're spreading the goals about. I think Taylor Evans get 2, I believe, and they're spreading goals out, so that's needed for a team like Shotts losing a big player like Danny Burns. The situation at Rossvale, I would be worried about them, not because obviously of things, just losing a lot of the players, obviously coming down for the Premier Division. A lot of the players have moved on. A new management team coming in with a new, having to kind of start for the bottom and just kind of start from scratch could be tough. I know obviously the off-field situation with splitting for the academy is not helping, but that's not going to impact. It might impact results, like it might impact the players' kind of mentality and things like that. But it will be difficult for Rossvale, but not the best of starts. But we'll see obviously how they got on through the season. They've got a really good management team. A lot of time for Kevin Kelly as well. There, he's been really, really good. He's a really good guy on and off the field. So huge respect to them. But Shotts a terrific result. St Rochs, a massive 7-1 victory. Like, you would go into Whitletts and losing 2-0, you would think, would that be a wee stinger? But you can't bounce back any better, scoring 7 against Bonneton. Again, Bonneton are they a team that's going to maybe struggle in the first division this season? It'll be interesting to see. I hope they don't, because I really like how the setup is down there. Obviously, I've spoke to Ross Wilson as well, and I know their ambitions, and hopefully they can get it right. But St Rochs, you've got to tip your hat off to them. A massive result. And again, it'll give them a huge boost. You don't want to start your season with a defeat, but to start with a defeat and then come back and score 7 your next game, it shows that the players have got some really good character, and that's a really impressive result. St Cadoc's 2, Cumbernauld 2. St Cadoc's has started with 2 draws. I think they'll be a team. A lot of pick teams will be looking to see how they got on this season. They're a really impressive side. Cumbernauld as well, starting with a terrific result against Drumchapel last week at home, 4-0. They will be hoping as well to be getting back up the league. I know Tony Fraser's keen to get back up the league as soon as possible. Kevin Watt, I'm very impressed with him. I think he'll be a terrific player for them this season. I think he scored again this week as well. So they're 2 teams that I think will be eyeing out for promotion. Neilston beating Benburb 2-0. That I think shows you just how unpredictable this league will be. Like, you'll have teams beating each other every week. You won't see. I think you'll be very surprised if I see a team going in like a 3-4 game run on here, like winning. This league is so competitive. Like, Neilston are a good side, Benburb are a really good side. They'll be both looking to get as far up the table as possible. And a 2-0 win for Neilston is huge. And I think that probably could be one of the best results of the weekend. Drumchapel United 2, Rutherglen 0. Drumchapel again bouncing back for a heavy defeat in their opening game. A 2-0 win over Rutherglen, who I know are trying to get up as well. Drumchapel have done some really good business over the summer, like obviously the marquee signing David Templeton, former Rangers and Hearts, but they've got a really good squad as well, like Sir Martin Green, Taylor Finnegan's really good players in that team, and a really good management team as well. Adam Hopes has done a terrific job there. Gartcairn got their first win of the season, a 1-0 win over Thornleywood. They'll be buzzing with that. Mick Dunlop, obviously, we've had on the show. Very, very good setup down there, and I really hope that they can kind of build on. Thornywood as well. They'll do fine. I think they'll be a team to watch as well. There's so many things that you'll never be able to predict this league. It's so difficult. And you look at there's 16 teams in that league, and realistically, it could be one of the tightest leagues I think we've seen for many years. I couldn't predict that league. I'm not even going to attempt to. I think Kilbirnie will be good. I really think Kilbirnie, there's a really good field down there. I think Tommy's obviously recruited well. Spent more obviously getting a pre-season under the belt. I think they took the job last season at a difficult time. They did well. They did steady the ship, but it just wasn't enough to get them obviously the Premier Division safety. But they'll be hoping to get back into the Premier Division as soon as possible, and I think they'll be hoping they can. But yeah, a really good week in the First Division, and I think that league will be looking at some funny results over the season. Another really competitive league. Let's get into the Second Division. We'll just go through those results. Craigmark 3, Glasgow United 2, Forth 1, Glasgow Uni 0, Glasgow Perthshire 0, Yoker 3, Greenock Juniors 3, St Anthony's 2, Kilsyth Rangers 1, Arthurlie 3, Maybole 1, Maryhill 0, Muirkirk 1, Ashfield 7, and Wishaw 1, Renfrew 2. The result that sticks out straight away, Muirkirk 1, Ashfield 7. Ashfield scoring 7 goals away to Muirkirk. That's magnificent for them. And again, Muirkirk scoring 4 goals away last week to Maryhill. That's magnificent for them. You've got to think about this league as well. Like, I think every league you've got to look at and think, we're going to see some crazy results throughout the season, but Ashfield's obviously under Mick Oliver. 1-7-1, that's a magnificent result for them. Obviously, they've, again, lost a few players like Sir Ryan McManus away. Again, that'll do massive confidence for their team that they can score 7 goals. And if you can score 7 goals in that league, then, I mean, you won't see that result many times in that league because it's so competitive. And Muirkirk, I think, will be a team to keep an eye on as well. But Ashfield, yeah, you've got to give credit to them. A massive result. Craigmark 3, Glasgow United 2. Let's just go down it as well. Craigmark, one of only 2 teams to start with 2 wins in this league. I think Craigmark will be eyeing the top 3 anyway. And Ryan Caddis obviously knows the game, knows how to build teams. They've got some really good players, the likes of Stephen Tan, Jordan Ryan Connolly is at a great start. 4 goals in 2 games. Glasgow United, all reports they'll be hard done. They'll be feeling hard done by not to come away with a point. They've had a good start as well. I think they won their first day as well, beating Glasgow Perthshire. Yeah, I think Glasgow United will be another team as well that will do fine. They'll be looking to make a mark in that league. But Craigmark, I would keep an eye on them for the season. I think they could be I think it could be a big season for them, and I think they could be eyeing the promotion places. Forth Wanderers as well, 1-0 over Glasgow Uni. Glasgow Uni did a terrific result the week before, beating Arthurlie. Forth are a team to keep an eye on. I know obviously they've kept most of their core. They'll be keen to move up the system as well. Like a 1-0 win against Glasgow Uni, you'll take that. And Forth will be a team to keep an eye on. Yoker are the other team that got a 100% record so far, going to Glasgow Perthshire and winning 3-0. Obviously won last week. I think a lot of people thought Yoker wouldn't be sitting anywhere near the top of the league after 2 games, losing a lot of their players last season who left after the Junior Cup final run. A lot of kind of teams in the Premier Division, the First Division, kind of snapped them up. So I think a lot of folk would think they would struggle, but they've had a really good start. You can't ask for a better start. Gordon Robertson's done a terrific job in his first 2 games. I worry a bit for Glasgow Perthshire. I think when you look at their kind of team and things like that, I think somebody was saying that last week as well. It's difficult it's difficult if you've not got a continuous kind of level of consistency, which I think they will struggle. And I don't really know much about Glasgow Perthshire. I obviously follow their teams and things like that, and they've got a different team every week, so it's hard to keep that consistency if you've not got a settled team. How are you meant to pick up results and build a consistent run? So we'll see how the season goes for them. But I think Yoker, massive credit to them, and they're sitting at the top of the league along with Craigmark. Greenock 3, St Anthony's 2. I know there's a bit of controversy with this. I think St Anthony's will be feeling hard done by. They didn't get a point. Don't know if you've seen it, but yeah, it was over the line. You should have had a point out of that. But again, a big win for Greenock and a really, really entertaining game. 5 goals in the game. Probably should have been 6. But Ian Nixon as well, he'll be looking to get Greenock in a wee run. And a win over St Anthony's at home. That's a big result. Ardea, they done really well over the weekend, winning 3-1 away to Cambuslang Rangers. Again, Ardea will be looking to get up the leagues as well. They've done really well to get clinch their second division status. So a big result for them, going away, winning away from home. You'll take that every weekend. And Cambuslang Rangers, I don't know if what they'll be like over the course of the season. Like that, are they going to be able to go on a wee run? It'll be interesting to see how they get on over the season. But huge result for Ardea, and a massive credit to them. And Sean Kenny has obviously done really well. With difficult summer for them, obviously, with the situation with the ownership, but obviously I believe it's been resolved, and they'll be looking to just get on to on-field matters and focus on what's going to be happening over the course of the season. On the park, Maybole 1, Maryhill 0. Maybole, I think, will be really good this season. I think they've done some excellent recruitment. Carlo Walker's been there for a long time, knows the game inside out. He's a terrific manager. I really think Maybole will do well. Maryhill, obviously, under Matt Young, it'll be difficult to see how they get on. A bad first game losing to Muirkirk at home. I think they lost 4-1. So they'll be hoping to get a wee run going as soon as possible. They'll be wanting to get out of the ruck. You don't want to be losing too many games at the early stages of the season. But again, Maybole, a good result for them. Wishaw 1, Renfrew 2. Renfrew obviously keeping their wee run going. They started with a draw in their opening game, and they'll be hoping again to win the game 2-1. They won 2-1 against Wishaw. Again, difficult place to go, and that's a big result for them. And they've got some really good players as well, bringing in Stephen Stirling, who is an experienced pro, obviously spent time at Rangers. They've got a really good partnership with Kieran Diver and Scott Morton. I'm a huge fan of that partnership. I think they scored over 70 goals last season, but they have done absolutely excellent this season so far. And I think a lot of people fancy Renfrew to be up in the promotion places, and I think if you've got a partnership scoring goals like that, I think it's hard to disagree. So I think it's worth keeping an eye on Renfrew. Wishaw, I think, will do fine as well. I think they'll be keen to get a win on the board quickly, so we'll be interested to see how the season goes. But I think Renfrew and Craigmark, for me, I think are the two teams to watch in that division, and closely followed by likes of Maybole. So yeah, that's another. Again, you look at that league and you're going to see some crazy results over the course of the season. But again, terrific so far, and we'll see how the season goes for all the teams. Third division, let's get into that. Ardrossan 1, Vale of Leven 0, Bellshill 2, Girvan 3, Funart 5, Royal Albert 1, Irvine Victoria 8, Lesmahago 0, Lanark 3, Dalry 1, Lugar 2, Lark Hall 1, Newmains 2, East Kilbride Thistle 2, Port Glasgow 4, Carluke 1, and Saltcoats 1, Kello 3. So far this season, there have been 3 games played. Obviously, it was a midweek section during the week. And Wednesday, at the top of the league so far, we have Lanark and Kello, obviously with 3 wins so far. Lanark, a terrific result, 3-1 over Dalry. I think a lot of people think Lanark will do really well this season. Keen to see how both teams got on as well. Kello, Greg Gallagher, obviously going in for Lugar. Really good start for both teams. They'll be hoping to keep that going as quickly as possible. And as you say, you can't beat an early start, and 3 wins out of 3, you're certainly going the right way about it. So Lanark and Kello with big results over the weekend. The eye-catching one there's Irvine Victoria 8, Lesmahago 0. I don't know what happened there. Irvine Victoria were very clinical. Franny Kilpatrick, we mentioned for him, terrific performance for him. I think he scored 3. Tremendous performance there. Lesmahago, I didn't see that coming from Lesmahago. I thought Lesmahago would be better than that so far. I don't think it was a bad start as well, so I don't know what happened there, but a tremendous result for Irvine Vics. Funart obviously come up for the 4th division. They had a good start. 2-5-1 wins at home in the first 3 games. You can't ask for anything better than that, and I think they'll be a team who will be keen to move up again this season. So Funart, a big mention to them. Ardrossan 1, Vale of Leven 0. That's a good result for obviously Gavin Friels. I think that could be Ardrossan could be a team to keep an eye on as well. They've got a tremendous management team. Gavin Friels is there. Chris McGowan, tremendous team, tremendous management team. They know how to win. They'll be keen to keep it going at that level and obviously get Ardrossan up the leagues. Girvan get their first win on the board, a 3-2 win away to Bellshill. I've been a huge fan of Girvan's recruitment. They've done really well over the season. Matt Maley, he knows what he wants to do. They're a team with a lot of ambition. They've obviously got their floodlights installed. They're keen to, although I think they're the first team in the West to get their SFA membership. So they'll be desperate to push up the leagues, and I think they've got a big chance. I think they've done well. There's a certain level of recruitment there. I think that people will be enjoying. Lugar, they got off to they get the first win of the season, a 2-1 win over Lark Hall. Again, a new management team. They'll be looking to push on throughout the season, and again, we'll speak to guys at Lugar over the course of the season. I think they'll be keen to push up the leagues. They've signed a few good players. They'll be hoping to push up over the course of the season, and a first win in 3 games. They'll be hoping to get a second one as soon as possible. So yeah, I think Lugar will be good this season. Newmains 2, East Kilbride 2. Massive point for Newmains against a lot of people's fancy for that league. East Kilbride Thistle, they've obviously brought in a lot of players with a lot of experience. They'll be keen to go up the leagues. Aaron Connolly as well getting on the score sheet. It's always great to see Aaron doing well. Newmains as well. Like, a lot of people would probably fancy them to be towards the relegation places, but a 2-2 draw against a team like East Kilbride is a massive result. Great to see Port Glasgow in a 4-1 win over Killook. I know Stevie Wilson there's determined to build something, and I think he's going the right way about it. Tremendous result, 4-1 against Killook. I don't know about Killook. I think I'll be keen to see how they got on over the season. I think they could be a team that will be hoping to rely on their home form. I think they'll be keen to see how they got on at home. I think Port Glasgow will be a team to keep an eye on as well. There's so many, again, that's another really competitive league, and obviously 19 teams in it. It's going to be interesting to see how they got on. You've got Vale Clyde as well, who didn't play over the weekend. They've had quite a solid start. Another competitive league. I think that's a symbol of the West this season. It's going to be extremely competitive. I don't think, although you've got an 8-0 and a 5-1 in there, you're going to see a lot of tight games and a lot of competitive action. So it's going to be really good. The new 4th division, let's get into that. We'll get into the results over the weekend. They are BSC Glasgow 3, Easterhouse 1, Eglinton 1, Thorn 3, Harmony Road 0, Rossvale 2, St Peters 1, Kilsyth Athletic 2, 3-4, Campbelltown Pupils 0, and West Park United 3, Glenvale 2. Let's start with West Park. They're one of the 4 teams in the league who've got off to 100% starts, 2 wins out of 2. They scored a last-minute winner to beat Glenvale. I think there's a lot of ambition at that club, and I know they've done really well in the amateurs over the years. They'll be keen to move up the leagues, and I know Barry McLaughlin, ex-St Mirren, he's in now the manager there. I think he left Glenvale, I think. Somebody can correct me on that, to go and take that job, and he's looking again like there's a lot of ambition there, and I think the Nathan McClelland scored for them the weekend. I don't even think he's 16, so it shows they've got a lot of young players keen to showcase their talents at that stage. So it's going to be very good over the course of the season to see how they got on. Threave Rovers are another team with 100% records. Obviously, there was a lot of talk about their switch to the West from the South. I'm hoping to speak to Threave over the season and kind of ask the question of why they took that step, because you go from the South where realistically you could be, if you think about it this way, you could be playing in the SPFL in 2 years if you really want to push for that, but instead they've chose the route of the West where they have to start in the 4th, so it's going to take them maybe 6 years if they want to get SPFL ambitions or move up the leagues. But obviously, I would imagine it's down to want to be more competitive. I think the South, obviously, I think it's nowhere near the level of the West. I think so. Again, but I think Threave will be really hard to beat in this league. I think they're a really top team. They've kept the majority of the players that they had from last season. They've signed a few in for Dalbeattie who've got that Lowland League experience. I think Threave will be good in this league. I think you'll be seeing Threave move up the leagues over the course of the next few years. Kilsyth Athletic beat St Peters 2-1. They've got off to a really good start as well with their 2 wins. Youngest manager in Scottish football, Bailey Hanlon, I think he's only 22. Magnificent to see that. I really hope Kilsyth Athletic do well last season. Obviously just pipped by Fanart in the league in their first season. They'll be keen to win the league. That'll be their ambition. So good to see Kilsyth obviously getting a win as well. St Peters, a lot of good guys there as well. Again, there's all 12 teams in this league will be ambitious. They'll be wanting to move up the leagues as soon as possible. That's why they chose the West. That's why they want to be in it. Rossvale Academy as well. We know the story about splitting for the first team. They've got off to a winning start, 2 wins for 2 games, beating Harmony Road 2-0. Those are your 4 teams. I think those 4 teams could be looking to kind of get up that league as soon as possible. So I'll be keen to see how they got on. I think 3 teams go up as well. So I'll be keen to see what happens over the season. But a terrific start for Rossvale. Thorn Athletic, they get their first win of the season, going to Eglinton and winning 3-1. They obviously lost their first game at St Peters. That was a game that kicked off the West season for this year. And BSE Glasgow getting a win on the board, beating Easterhouse 3-1. Again, that'll be another league to keep an eye on. There'll be loads of competitive action. I think that's going to be a terrific league. That is us for the review this week. I promise in the next episode we'll be joined by a guest. I've just kind of decided to do this quickly just to get it out for Wednesday. Thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And again, thank you very much to everyone who supported the channel and our West of Scotland coverage. It's great to have relationships with all the clubs, and we're looking forward to providing that on a weekly basis on this show. Thanks very much to everyone that's tuned in, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.